Hello, time again for another real-world review. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be talking about the Powertap P1 pedals, which I've been using for a year. If you find this review helpful, here are some other products that I'm looking at now and will review in the near future. I hope you'll subscribe to be alerted when those are ready. In a sentence, I can say I do like the Powertap P1 pedals. They have quantifiably improved my riding ability, but Powertap has made 3 engineering choices that I find questionable. Those are things users have to live with, and you should be aware before you make a purchase. I'll start by saying that the Powertap P1 pedals perform 3.5 tasks. I know that sounds odd, and I will explain. First, they're pedals. It's silly to say that out loud, but I purchased them for a brand new bike that didn't come with pedals. So the $100 I would have spent on pedals did help offset the cost of the P1s. That's in contrast to a crank or a wheel-based power meter where you're probably replacing a perfectly good part on an existing bike. This also means they are portable for consistency. This has just become suddenly important to me just in time for this review. I upgraded from a 2014 Wahoo KICKR to a 2018 version, and I found over a 20% power discrepancy between the two versions. With the P1 pedals, I'm able to move them to any bike, indoors or out, so that my power measurements are consistent no matter when or where. As a small side note, it turns out there was something wrong with my 2018 KICKR. A warranty replacement brought the power measurements back in line with the norm. However, that experience showed me the benefits of being able to take these pedals from bike to bike for a consistent experience and results on things like Zwift. The next feature of the P1 pedals is they measure cadence. So, with speed measured by your GPS bike computer, the P1 pedals can give you another 2 things to measure on a bike. Again, not much, but it saves you buying a cadence sensor. The third thing the P1 pedals do is measure power. Admittedly, it's an absurd thing to say since this is the reason you're buying a power meter. So it's that final half task I mentioned that set the P1 pedals apart and adds value. I used to ride with a Powertap G3 hub outdoors and, as mentioned, a Wahoo KICKR indoors. Both were great devices that I carried with me as I upgraded different bikes. They gave me a lot of insight into my power and progress. The P1 pedals take that one step further by measuring each leg independently and throughout the full rotation. This was a curiosity while riding on the road, but something I really paid attention to on my trainer in the off-season. While stationary, I could really look at the app and where in the rotation my power was lacking. I think applying power for the full circle has fallen out of fashion with coaches and experts, but it's still something I wanted to be able to do when called upon. By using the P1 pedals and their associated app, I learned not only to remove any drag from my pedal stroke, but how to apply power using different muscles at different times. It's not something I do for a full ride, but something I engage when I need supplementary power or if my quads need a short break. So for example, I've learned that just extending my calves alone adds an easy 25 watts. It's not something I do for a full ride, but something I can engage when approaching a rail bridge or an overpass so that I don't slow down. And that goes for all the muscles and muscle combinations. I can now engage or relax different muscle groups as I need power or recovery. Now, I mentioned 3 things that are not great about these pedals. First, the P1 pedals use proprietary cleats that are far too delicate. It seems to be a common complaint that the cleats wear out too fast. I'm on my 3rd set within a year, and this is while road riding. We're not talking about walking on gravel here. The shame is they seem so close to the Look Keo pedals, which I'm told wear much longer. However, it seems those are just different enough to make cliffing difficult and possibly throw power readings off. Powertap really should have made the cleats compatible or more durable. Next, the battery covers are similarly too delicate. I can pretty much guarantee you'll slip and partially strip the head on your first application. It's barely recessed for an Allen key and is made from a soft metal. You'll have to be very careful while replacing the batteries. And finally, the batteries themselves. Powertap requires you to use lithium batteries. They claim to have a 60-hour lifetime, and that may sound reasonable, but compare that to the estimated over 150 hours of lifetime for the G3 hub using a watch battery. This obviously depends on how much you ride, but you could potentially be replacing premium-priced batteries frequently. Powertap's explanation is that basic alkaline battery production is too variable and subject to warping. That could damage the overly delicate parts, including the battery cap I just mentioned. I personally decided to take a chance and use rechargeable batteries. Powertap says rechargeables have a high rate of failure and could similarly cause damage. One last note in closing that I'll add is that I have hit the ground using these pedals during sharp turns. I appear to be rather aggressive by applying power through corners. I don't think that's a problem for most users, but if you like to corner with speed and power, be aware that the Powertap pedals have a lot going on, and so they're a lot thicker than dumb pedals. Oh, I almost forgot. The Powertap app is actually really great. Powertap doesn't lock it to its own devices, so you can connect to third-party things like power meters, heart rate sensors, and cadence. So if you can find a way to strap this to your handlebars, it makes a great cycling computer. Thanks for joining me. I hope that video helped you. If it did, remember to subscribe to be alerted of new reviews.